Greetings, everyone. During a teacher training course that I was teaching for American college students who wanted to teach ESL, we were discussing where to put commas. Several of the students said that they decided according to their breadth. So, for example, take this sentence here. After he found the money, he immediately called the police. So then when she's trying to decide whether to put a comma, she can see there's kind of a natural place to, kind of take a breath. So it would be after he found the money, he immediately called the police. So that's where she put her comma. Now, I want to share with you an exciting approach to teaching your students when to use commas in the most common situations. For students, learning about commas this way can actually be an interesting and an enjoyable process. The exercises can be almost like trying to solve a puzzle. And best of all, this approach is very effective. In fact, after my students have completed these 3 sets of exercises that I'm going to share with you, they know the most common places to use and not use commas. In fact, my ESL students end up understanding comma uses better than my American teacher training students. Here are 8 sentences with commas. I have found that if students can understand the rules behind these 8 sentences, they will know how to use commas in most of the sentences that they will write in the future. So our challenge is to help students understand the rules. There are 2 ways that we can help them. We could tell them to memorize the 8 rules behind these sentences. That is a deductive approach. But that can be painful and not effective. We know it's not effective because that's how many teachers teach grammar rules, and we see students continually make mistakes when trying to apply them in their writing. What I'm going to share with you here is an inductive approach to teaching grammar. In this approach, we don't start by telling students a rule and having them memorize it. Instead, we start by presenting students with a mystery. We show them some sentences and ask them to think about what the rule is. And then we lead them to formulate the rule. I have found that by having students themselves formulate the rules, they are better able to remember them naturally rather than trying to memorize the rules. Now, this is important. To make this approach effective, we don't just say, here are some sentences. What is the rule? If we did that, students would waste a lot of time trying to guess the rule. Instead, we give them hints that will lead them to solve the mystery of what the rule is. So let's start with one mystery for using commas. So therefore, she canceled her appointment. Here's the mystery. Why is there a comma in this sentence? Now, we want to lead them in a way that will make them feel like they are formulating the rule. And we do this by giving them a clue. So here you can see the clue. We put a comma after a, so now they know where to focus their attention. They need to look at the word before the comma. In this sentence, the word is therefore. So now they need to think, what is so special about the word therefore that it needs a comma after it? Again, we don't expect them to formulate the rule yet. That would be asking too much. Instead, we present them with possible solutions to the mystery. So the possible solutions to this mystery, looking at the clue, we put a comma after A, conjunction, B, subject, C, transitional expression, or D, coordinator. And now students are ready to solve the mystery. We put a comma after a transitional expression. The students now understand one of the most common rules for using a comma. Let's look briefly at the second sample mystery that I had shown you earlier. Why are there commas in these sentences? You can see the mystery sentence. It began to snow, comma, so we decided to stay home. And we give them a clue which will help solve the mystery. And the clue ends up being the rule. So now they know what to focus on. I'll give you about 15 seconds to think about what to fill in the blank. Or you may want to stop hit the pause button. As you probably have chosen, here is the solution to the mystery and the rule. Put a comma before a conjunction that joins two independent clauses. In the notes below, I've included a link to the complete set of exercises that you can use with your students for free. Here is what the first exercise looks like that you'll find in the link below. And like I said earlier, students see this type of exercise as a kind of puzzle. It always amazes me how eager they are to do these. This is what often happens. I like to start my lesson by introducing the exercises that they're going to be working on during the class. So I try to first go through the directions of all the exercises, and there might be 3 or 4 or 5 of them. I go through the directions of all and then tell them to work on the exercises individually. But very often, as soon as I tell them about the first exercise, like this one, and before I can tell them about the second exercise, many of the students immediately want to start solving the mystery. In other words, filling in the blanks of the rules. So I have to tell them to put their pencils down before I get a chance to explain all of the assignments that they'll be working on. Actually, it's a nice problem to have. So now we come to the second mystery sentences that I had mentioned earlier. So here's the question. Why are the commas in these sentences a mistake? Let's look at number 5. She went to the theater and bought a ticket. Again, we don't just ask students to tell us what the rule is. Instead, we give them some clues to help them focus and some possible solutions. So here is the clue. We give the mistake and the correction. Now, they need to think about what is the difference between these two sentences. And here are the solution possibilities. I'll give you, about 15 seconds to fill in the rule below. Or again, you can hit pause. So, as you probably did, students will write in the word verb. Here is the second sample mistake. My dog started to bark, comma, when the doorbell rang. And then here is the correct way to write that sentence. My dog started to bark when the doorbell rang, with no comma. So I'll give you, 15 seconds again to complete the rule. And the answer, of course, is don't put a comma after an independent clause, which starts your sentence. And here is the culminating exercise, exercise 3. In this, they apply all the rules that they have formulated in exercise 2 and 3. They will see about 15 sentences. Some of them need commas and some do not. And they will put in the commas. I'll give you, just 10 seconds or so to do these 3 items. So, as you probably know, we don't put a comma in item number 1, but we do in items 2 and 3. Now, the most fun way to do these exercises is to assign it for homework. Then, the next class, have students check their answers with 1 or 2 classmates. You'll see how focused they are and interested in seeing how their classmates solve the puzzles. And if they don't agree, they seem to enjoy analyzing the clues and solutions together to find the answers to the puzzle. As I mentioned earlier in the link in the notes below, you'll find the complete set of exercises with many more items that you can use with your students for free. Thank you for watching.